Hey guys, this is the second in my series of sequences for slightly older or less flexible people. So this is kind of a nice complete sequence, but I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit shorter. I'm hoping to keep it to about 15 minutes. I haven't timed it, but let's give it a go. So we're going to start in a kneeling position. If it's not comfortable for you to kneel, you can sit in a cross-legged or whatever position is comfortable for you to sit on the floor. So we just get comfortable here in our kneeling position, just resting our hands down on our thighs and taking a moment to settle in to this sequence. You can close down your eyes. And taking a moment to feel into the sensations in your body. Just noticing how you're feeling from head to toe, through your hands, through your arms. Taking a moment to register the breath. What is your breath like in this moment? And we're just going to get moving in the spirit of making this a quick video. So let's sweep the arms out and up overhead. Now we can interlace the fingers, reaching the fingers up towards the ceiling. And if it's accessible for you, we can flip them so that the palms are reaching up to the ceiling now. And if you're not super open in the shoulders, your body might want to sort of hunch your arms forward. Just gently work on bringing the shoulders a little bit further back. Now let's stretch up, reaching the fingers up to the ceiling. Let's inhale here, lengthening through the side body and exhaling over to the left. Inhaling back up to center, exhaling over to the left, the right this time. And we're thinking about up and over rather than crunching down to the side. So imagine there's something here that you have to go up and over. Inhaling back to center, exhaling left. And we'll round it off on the other side, inhaling back to center, exhaling right. Let's release that and come to our hands and knees for some cat and cow movements. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's drop the belly, lift the chest on the inhale, and then round through the spine, gazing down at the navel on your exhale. Nice and gentle now, we're just warming up the body and moving with our breath. You can actually inhale and exhale through your nose for the entire practice. I think I just sometimes exhale through the mouth at the beginning for emphasis. Inhaling, lifting the chest forward and up. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Now we're going to move into a down dog. So we're just going to, let's walk the hands forward about one hand's distance forward, each of the hands, and keep the hands shoulder distance apart. Spread your fingers wide if they're not spread already, and then tuck your toes under, and then we're just going to lift the hips up and back into a down dog. I'm just going to make a few points about down dog in case maybe you've never done down dog before. First point to note is that you don't have to do down dog. So if this isn't comfortable for you, you can just be sitting back on your heels with your arms stretched out in front of you, This is just a modification that you can do. Otherwise, if you're okay for down dog, you might be feeling a little bit of pressure in the wrists. So what you want to do is you want to push through the knuckles and the fleshy part of your hand between the thumb and the fingers. You want to push into that part of your hand rather than your wrists. So you're pushing in, you're lifting, you're lengthening your arms, you're lifting your bum up towards the ceiling, lifting the hips, and your feet are hip distance apart. And one way to check if your hips are hip distance apart is to take your heel and turn it into the opposite foot and back again, because that is approximately your hip distance. This is going to be our only down dog today, so just enjoy it, maybe bending one knee and then the other knee, just stretching out those hamstring muscles. From here, we're going to take a nice slow walk, just walking up until our feet reach behind our hands. Like, you can bend your knees as much as you want to, and you can be on your fingertips. And let's take the feet hip distance apart. And let's just hang out here for a moment in our ragdoll pose. So keeping a nice generous bend in the knees. Let's hold on to the opposite elbows. And just allow our torso to just hang down nice and heavy. And you might be here. So wherever you are, be where you are and try to enjoy where you are without feeling like you have to push yourself into a certain shape. The idea is you have a little bit of a bend in the knees, and the feeling we're going for is relaxation through the back. You're just letting the back go. Your neck is loose. Your head is hanging heavy like a bowling ball. And we can just add some movement here. You can sway the hips a little bit. You can nod the head, yes, no. You can sway a little bit forward and backwards. You can just create any little gentle movements here that feel good in your body in this moment. Now we're going to go through a little flow, so you can either keep your feet hip distance apart if that's feeling better for you and you want a bit more stability, or you can bring your feet together. I like doing it with my feet together. So we're going to start in a forward fold. So we're going to bend generously into the knees until our belly comes down to rest on our thighs. Now your belly might not rest on your thighs, but one day, if you keep practicing, it might. So if you're here as well, whatever, that's okay. Just bend a bit more into your knees. You want to feel nice and relaxed in your forward fold. You don't want to feel like you're holding in your upper body. You want to kind of just release. Okay, so it doesn't matter what it looks like. The important thing is the intention that we have behind it. So we have this nice release of our upper body. We're really folding inwards in our forward fold. So we're looking inwards, curling up into ourselves kind of thing. But not curling because we're relaxing our back. So I shouldn't have used that word, but going inwards. Then in the next part of our flow, we're going to take our hands to the shins, or if you're not super flexible at the moment, we could even take the hands to the thighs, which is a really nice way to do it. And we're coming up into our flat back position. In our flat back position, we're drawing the thighs back, chest forward, shoulders are drawing down and away from the back, and we're gazing straight ahead. This is our flat back position. We're having a little bit of a back extension here. We're working our back muscles. And exhale back down to our forward fold, letting it all go. Now keeping a nice bend in the knees, we're sweeping the arms out wide and up overhead. And we can't see my head here, but we can just imagine that I have a head, taking the hands down to the heart. Inhaling sweeping arms up over your head as if you're carrying a beach ball. And as you exhale, we're sweeping the arms out to the side and hinging from the hips. So we're not rounding through the back, we're coming down with our nice flat back. We're back in our forward fold. Taking the hands to the thighs, we're inhaling up into our flat back position. On our next exhale, we're down to our forward fold. Now sweeping the arms up overhead to raised hands. And exhaling, hands to heart. On the next inhale, we're sweeping arms up overhead again. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling to flat back position. Exhaling, folding forward again. Inhaling up to raised hands. Exhaling, hands to heart. All right, we'll leave it there for those movements. And now we're going to turn to the side and take a big step out to the left so that we have a nice wide stance here so that we can do some forward folds. I think you can see me with all the plants behind me. So just as wide as feels comfortable for you. If you're doing like something like this and then it doesn't feel right, you don't feel stable, then you can just take it in a bit more. It has to feel comfortable for you. Both of your feet pressing down evenly into the mat. And let's just take the hands to the hips. We're going to inhale to lengthen up through the spine. And then as we exhale, we're going to hinge from the hips, keeping a flat back. So we're not rounding through the back. Our back is coming down parallel to the mat. As we reach parallel, then let's take our hands and just rest our fingertips down on the floor. If your fingertips don't come to the floor, that is totally okay. You can take them up to a block. If you have a couple of books, you can put books under there, cushions, or maybe you're here, in which case you could rest your hands on a chair. So wherever you are today. Just going to stay here for a few breaths, just breathing into the pose. Maybe I go this way so you can see a little bit better. So with each inhale, we're lengthening forwards. And with each exhale, we're just softening down. Now, over time, you will be able to walk the hands back so that they're in line with the feet, along the same line as the feet, not beside the feet. So the hands are like underneath your shoulders, but along the same line as the arches of your feet. And instead of thinking about rounding down like this, we're thinking of lengthening on the inhale and just softening the chest down towards the mat on the exhale. Lovely. So we're here. If you have brought yourself further down to the ground, come back up onto your fingertips. Then, with your core muscles engaged, take your hands to your hips and take yourself back up to standing. And we're just going to heel toe, the feet a little bit closer together until your feet come underneath your hips. And then we're just going to squat down into a little squatting position. Not going to stay here long in case it is uncomfortable for you. But if you want to practice your squats, do so at any time. And even if it's something where your heels are not coming to the floor, you can just put a little blanket or cushion underneath your heels and you can even practice your squats like that. Okay, otherwise we're just sitting our bum down on the mat and taking the soles of the feet together. So, doesn't matter where your knees are here. Your knees might be flat down on the mat or they might be hanging out up here. If it's uncomfortable to have your knees hanging in space, you can put some blocks or cushions or whatever you have underneath your knees to hold them there. If you feel like you really want to get into these knees, If you feel like you really want to get into this, opening out this groin area, you can take your elbows and press down, opening out this area. Paying attention to the breath, enjoying some nice steady breaths here. And this is a fabulous opportunity to give yourself a foot massage. Just taking your thumbs and rubbing them along the soles of your feet, anywhere you like. Really nice to have an opportunity to show yourself some love. Really nice, practical, physical way to show your body that you love it and you appreciate everything that your body is doing for you. Your feet holding you up every day. From here, we're going to send the legs out long. And then just take them as wide as feels comfortable for you. You want to go to about 80, 85% of your maximum. You don't want to overdo it. And then let's just sit up nice and tall. Nice straight spine. Inhale to lengthen up through the spine, and then exhale, hinging forward from the hips. So just see how far you get with your just hinging from the hips. Take another inhale here, and then just allow your back to round forward. So again, doesn't matter how far forward you get. Doesn't matter how it looks, it matters how it's feeling in your body. So we were hinging, and then we're just allowing ourselves to round forward. Softening here, going inwards energetically. Relaxing the torso, just softening into the pose with each exhale. So we're going to come up out of that nice and slowly. And then you can just take your 2 feet, soles of your feet to the mat, and come down onto your back. Taking your arms out wide, we're going to set up for a twist here. So you can take the knees into the chest, and then just allow the knees to drift down to the right as you gaze over your left shoulder. And here we're not forcing, we're just allowing the twist to unfold. Softening into the twist with each exhale. You might want to help yourself along here by placing a hand on your outer left thigh. If it's maybe not coming down all the way, you can just help it along there. And you want to just imagine it, your left shoulder softening down towards the mat. Now taking your knees up into your chest and sending the knees over to the left as you gaze over your right shoulder. Taking the knees back into the center now. We're going to take the hands to the knees and draw little circles with our knees one way and little circles the other way. Then sending the legs out long, allowing the feet to flop out to the sides. Arms down by your side and just taking a few breaths here. As you're ready, taking your arms up overhead, bending the knees and rolling over onto one side, using your arm as a little pillow for your head. And pushing yourself up to a seated position. Whatever seated position feels comfortable for you. Just making your way up to a position where you're feeling comfortable and your spine is nice and long, so you're not hunched over. A position where you think you might be able to not fidget for a minute, if possible. And we can just close down the eyes. Focus in on the breath again. Noticing how it feels to be alive in this body at this moment. Letting go of the negative, the toxic thoughts, and the judgments with each exhale. And with each inhale, just allowing the present moment. We're just going to take the last minute of class now to practice detachment from our thoughts as they swirl around in our head. Just noticing that we're not our thoughts. We are the person who is noticing that we have thoughts. now, just taking your hands together at the heart. Namaste. As always, if you have a few minutes now, it'll be the perfect time to meditate a little bit more. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a million.